A ceasefire appears to be holding for now in the Syrian province of Idlib, with monitors reporting that no warplanes have been flying for the first time in weeks. Idlib is the last part of Syria still held by rebels after 9 years of civil war. A huge offensive by President Bashar al-Assad's forces, backed by Russian airstrikes, has led to a new humanitarian crisis in a war that has already killed hundreds of thousands and driven millions from their homes. A few hours before the ceasefire began, our international correspondent Orla Guerin and cameraman Gökte Koraltan visited a maternity hospital in Idlib, struggling to cope with tiny premature babies. Her report contains some distressing material.
Born too early in Syria's time of war. 10 days old and already battling tough odds. He weighs just over 3 pounds, but he's a fighter and getting stronger. Staff here are struggling to save a growing number of premature babies born to mothers traumatized by airstrikes and barrel bombs. Dr. Ikram wants these tiny babies to be seen.
Now, see that?
In all their suffering. She's 8 months pregnant herself and can't understand why the outside world has stood idly by.
Many times I ask myself, there is no one can help us or no one can stop this war. There is no humanity. Where the humanity of these people? If you see every day our miserable condition here, why cannot do anything? How you are sleeping? How you are sleeping?
What was that? Attack? What was it?
Then suddenly we heard the conflict coming closer, just hours before the ceasefire began. Time to go. In Syria, hospitals are not spared. They've been repeatedly targeted by Russian and Syrian warplanes. Well, we've just heard a very loud explosion nearby. There's obviously been an airstrike, and the alarm is sounding here at the hospital, telling people that there are jets in the air, and people are now starting to come out. But this is an everyday reality in Idlib. People have become accustomed to living with this risk. And many have died from it. This was the town of Binish on February 25th. Anas hoping against hope to find his loved ones after a massive airstrike on his neighbourhood. Instead, he faced unbearable losses. His baby son, his wife, his mother, and his brother. 10 days on, he is cloaked in sorrow and pain. His son Tarek survived because Anas took him to the pharmacy 5 minutes before the airstrike. Do you see any future now for yourself? Do you see any future for Syria?
May God give us strength. But for Syria, there is no future as long as Bashar is around. Not for children, for men, or for women.
Who do you blame, Anas, for what has happened to your family?
First of all, I blame the Russians and the regime. But the main reason is the international community, which has no compassion for us.
His life is a shadow of what it was. He believes the ceasefire won't last, and no one can replace what was taken from Anas. Orla Guerin, BBC News, Idlib.